But anyway, my phone was going off. That's the point. And I don't even see on the screen or anything like that. I just hear the noise and I kind of go to stop it as if it's my alarm at first. But then I'm realizing, I'm like, wait, ooh, it's not time yet. So I pick up the phone and it's my brother, and he's just like panting, like he's out of breath, and I just say, like, hello, obviously, like, hey, what's up, what's going on, and all he said was, it's dad. So at that point, I get ready, I run, I get some clothes on, and I run down to my parents' place. And on my way there, they're about maybe an hour away or so from where I live. And I went and on the road, and I called my brother back, and he's telling me about how EMTs are trying to resuscitate my dad, and they've been trying for a long time. And he's saying, and he's still kind of frantic. So I'm talking to him to calm him down a little bit, and he's telling me what's happened, and um, so he was trying pretty hard to. He was performing CPR, and he believes he, cracked or broke one of his ribs, and but Dad still wasn't coming to. So the EMTs were still working on him, and they basically worked on him all the way until I got there, which is kind of a long time. So I pull up, and I can't pull into the driveway because there's ambulances and cop cars and everything all over the place. And so I pull up on a street and in front of the house, and I start to make my way into the house, and that's when I see them pulling. Well, they basically rolling my dad out on a stretcher, and they rolling him into the ambulance, and he wasn't moving. But the strange thing was, like, I had this thought, like, well, he's not in a body bag, so he must be all right. And it's just one of those weird things that you think. But I get in the house. Even before that, actually, it was just this one officer, kind of just looked at me and was just like, "Hey, are you the son?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm the son." And he just kind of like escorts me to the front of the house through all the commotion, I guess. Um, and he wouldn't look me in the eye, but he looked sad. And I'm like, okay. So I get in there and, listen, I definitely didn't need a cop walking me up to my mom and dad's place at all. But, it is what it is. I can understand the situation. And, there's some weirdos out there that'll try and do something stupid around that time anyway. But whatever. That's another story. Um, so I get into the house and I look at my mom and my brother, and they're not. I've never seen them like that before, right? But they look shell shocked, and then we go through this process, and we have to eventually get to the hospital, right? And after they explained, like, the whole story to me about what happened, I think I knew, you know, it's just, that's a hard thing to come back from, what he went through and what it was. And so Anyway, we get to the hospital, and I dropped them off at the emergency room, or the emergency room entrance, right? Emergency entrance, whatever. And then I start to drive around a little bit looking for parking. The thing is, I was clearly stalling, right? Because as more time went on, I kind of just knew. But I was driving around looking for a garage to park in, even though the emergency room, that emergency entrance, they have valet parking, right? So I just had to drop the vehicle off and go on in there. But I obviously wasn't ready yet. But eventually I get there. I get in the emergency room and I see my brother kind of standing up, leaning against the wall, and my mom surrounded by at least 5 different nurses. And as soon as I step in there, everyone looks at me. And it's just one of those things where it's just like you see it in movies or you see it on shows, and it's one thing, but like, yeah, to live through it is something completely different. And I was dreading hearing anything to the sound of like he didn't make it or he passed or something. I just didn't want to hear it. But sure enough, that's what the nurse said. And I broke. I don't think I've cried that much with that much intensity ever in my life. But just like that, my dad was gone. And you know, in that moment, a lot of things that I was concerned about, a lot of things that I was stressed about, there were just a lot of things that did not matter anymore. And then all the while, these attacks, you would think that they would stop, but they just changed. And my dad passing away opened up the door for even more to come. And I'm not saying that my dad passing away is an attack. Not at all. But things were surely different after he passed away. Things definitely changed, both externally and internally, right? Things definitely changed on the inside. And I'll go more into that as we go along. Because now I'm faced with another decision.